Hello, everyone. Welcome to our attendees who are just coming in now. We're so glad that you're here and sorry for getting a little bit of a late start. We are also having a little bit of a crazy day in our office in preparation for class registrations next week. I know that's a hot topic on a lot of folks' minds. So welcome. I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen. If this is anyone's first step session, just a little overview of how this will work. We are in a webinar, so we aren't able to see your faces, or if you raise your hand, we're not able to hear your question. But if you have any questions for any of our panelists, there's a Q&A box at the bottom there. You're welcome to ask questions. We don't advise to ask more personal questions in this space. We'll be able to provide a lot of different contact information if there's folks that you want to connect with later on. At the very end of the session, we will have a live Q&A. So if we're seeing a lot of themes and questions, we'll make sure that we address those at the end. And Simon will be sending some links in the chat, and we will have the recording up on our recaps page tomorrow if there's anything that you wanted to go over once more. So I will start here by just sharing my screen and welcoming you to the program, letting you know what is coming up for us. So this is going to be a 4-part program. We are in one of our transfer talks. We are just over halfway through our transfer talks at this point. This is a full week first step. If you're someone who's participating in all of the different options, you'll see that we have all these different puzzle pieces hit this week. Tomorrow we'll be having Connect. We've had Red Talks earlier this week, and we'll go more. And this is the incorrect presentation that I'm sharing my screen on. So let me go ahead and stop here. And I'm so sorry. Hopping right into it too quickly. Okay. All right. So things to expect this week. We are in one of our Triton talks. We are halfway through these. They happen every Wednesday. So we'll continue to have a few more of these as we wrap up the year. Topics coming up will be parking and transportation around campus. We'll also have one on how to pay your bills, which is slightly different than financial aid. It's through a different website and system. And the transfer hub and what we can do to support you. So more coming up. Today's topic is going to be your mental health at UCSD. And this is something that we want to make sure you know there are so many different services here to support your mental health and so many different folks who are here to support you in the transfer hub and beyond. And we have a lot of those wonderful representatives here in the Zoom with us to talk about the services that they provide. We'll do a nice deep dive into that today. For those of you hoping to make some connections with your fellow incoming transfers, we have Transfer Connect sessions. We try to make these around a topic of importance. So tomorrow we will have an in-person session, catered lunch from Chipotle, and we will talk about how to register for classes, how to look at degree audit, how to look at WebReg, where do you need to go for each of these pieces. And then we'll have the same session on Friday, but virtually. So we'll have one more after that of where to find your mentors and build connection at UCSD. This week was the first of our research and involvement series. So if you're just wondering how to get involved on campus, we have our research and involvement coordinator, Elizabeth, leading this wonderful series. This week, we focused on just all the different types of ways to be involved, whether it's clubs or study abroad or internships. That reporting is up on our website. So if you check out our recaps page, you'll see the info from that, and that will continue next week. Looking ahead just for dates, as I mentioned, our big topic this week is going to be supporting you in course registration. So we won't be able to address questions regarding that in this session, but know that we are giving you all the support we hope that you need in the coming days. Next week, we'll have our next session of the research and involvement series, and it will be all things resumes. So if there were things that you were excited about from this session and want to learn how to make a really strong resume to dive into that, we are going to be providing that support next week. And our next transfer talks here next Wednesday is going to be how to pay your bills. So that is all. If you're not registered for the series, we just hope that you can scan the QR code. That's how we know to buy you a lunch for tomorrow or to plan a breakout room for you on Friday. So we will share this link in the chat shortly as well. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to pass to our folks from our core team. So we have a couple folks joining, and they're going to tell you what the core program is at UCSD and what to expect. So I'll pass off to your team. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Jojo Lee. I am a licensed professional clinical counselor, and I am one of the Triton CORE clinicians, as well as a transfer student graduated from UCSD many moons ago. So welcome, and I have my team here, myself, Chris and Eduardo, and I will let them introduce themselves. Let's start with Chris.
Thanks, Jojo. Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, congratulations. You made it to UCSD, and best of luck on this endeavor for you all. My name is Christian Gasca. I use pronouns he, him, and él. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I am Triton CORE clinician. I just came up on my 1-year anniversary here on the campus, so I'm really excited about that. I'm going to popcorn it over to Eduardo.
Hi, folks. Good afternoon. So happy to be here with you all. My name is Eduardo Caldera. My pronouns are he, him, él. I'm one of the Triton CORE clinicians, and I am a licensed professional clinical counselor. Thank you so much.
All right, let's move on to the next slide. So, as you can see, there are 4 of us. We are a small and mighty team. You may ask, what is Triton CORE? Triton CORE stands for Compassionate Response Team. So we are a mobile crisis response team here on campus. As you can see, we are all licensed clinicians, and our current operating hour is Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. In order to reach us, you can call the UCPD non-emergency line, which is 858-534-HELP-LINE. And eventually, we will have our non-law enforcement line. All you need to do is check out our website, which is tritoncore.ucsd.edu, and we will have our newest update on our website. Next slide, please. So, why Triton CORE and what are we doing here? As I said, we are a mobile crisis response team. We are here for you all. So if you ever experiencing any mental health related crisis, we meet you where you're at, because we're mobile. And what that means is as long as you are physically located on campus and you're experiencing a mental health crisis, you need to talk to someone. Instead of waiting for you to walk into the counseling and psychological service, we call ourselves urgent care on wheels. We come to you. And the purpose of this is, first of all, we want to reduce the stigma. What does it look like to actually step into a counseling center when you're experiencing crisis? That can be a little bit daunting. At the same time, we also want to support how to really facilitate in terms of providing the least restrictive and most appropriate level of care for you. That also includes reducing emergency department visit if possible. We will work with you to collaborate care. We will work with you to decide if you need any case management service. Then with your release of information, we will then connect you with all the other campus partners that you may or may not be familiar with. Next slide, please. So what are the calls that we respond to? As I said, we are Triton CORE Urgent Care on Wheels. We respond to non-violence behavioral health crisis. What does that look like? It means that if you are experiencing any suicidal ideations or self-harm, or any thought of hurting other people, but without any imminent risk, that's very important, no imminent risk, then we can come out and support and kind of talk about how does it look like, how can we support you? If you're experiencing any history or any substance related or alcohol related impairment, we're there to help you out as well. Sometimes individual may experience these kind of like delusional thinking, disorientation thinking, maybe something that's just like out of baseline. Maybe it can be yourself. Maybe you know of someone else that you just met and then be like, this is kind of like, oh, this is not the person that I've known in the past year. What is going on? Feel free to give us a call and we will help you out. Next slide, please. So, as I said, give us a call if you had an idea, like, I'm not sure if this is the Triton CORE call. We do provide telephone consultations, starting from telephone screening. Once you contact the non-emergency law enforcement line, The first thing is that you would talk to a dispatch and you can specifically request, I would like to speak with a Triton CORE clinicians. We have our radio that we have ongoing conversation with our dispatch, and then we can let you know if, first of all, this is a Triton CORE call, what is the eligibility? Currently, we serve students who are enrolled in UCSD, including our undergraduate students, graduate student, extended study student, and professional school student. Anyone can give us a call, yourself, your friend, your family member, anyone. Now we provide wellness check. 90% of the time we provide in-person wellness check, but there might be situations that we can provide telephone wellness check. During our wellness check, we want to meet you where you're at physically, emotionally, and psychologically. We're there to support you to assess how can we better coordinate care and set you up for success at UCSD. Now, let's say if we decide that maybe we do need to escalate to a higher level of care, we do provide transportations. We have our vehicle that can actually take the student of concern to the UCSD emergency department or a crisis stabilization unit. And when we do that, we communicate with the doctors and provide coordinations of care. We then also support you in terms of staying with you in an emergency department until you actually meet with a psychiatrist. Also, afterward, once we kind of like transport you over to the emergency department or crisis stabilization unit, we also communicate in the back end to make sure that before you discharge from the hospital or crisis stabilization unit, there is a plan afterward. So these are all things that we want to make sure that we provide a trauma-informed comprehensive care for you and the student of concern. Also, if there's any situations that the person who is impacted by a critical incident, we also provide crisis postventions for you or your friends. Next slide, please. This is the deployment decision tree. What we're looking at is, what is the concern? You don't have to pay attention to everything, but I just want to let you know, if you call us, we usually would ask you, what is the concern? Is it a safety-related concern? If there's violence-related concern with the safety, then there's a likelihood that officer might be the first person who will respond, and then most likely we will do postvention. If this is a non-violence, mental health-related concern, then Triton CORE will be the first person who will respond to the call. And mind you, we always come in pair. So there, you will always see two of us show up to the call. If it's a medical related concern, anything that the student require emergency medical attention, it will automatically go to EMS and fire department, and Triton CORE may provide postventions. If someone who needs psychiatric assessment and there is non-violent component to it, then we will respond. On the very last end to the right-hand side is if it's a mental health call, if it's non-violence. I said non-violence at least 5 times at this point. So as you can tell how important it is. If it's a mental health call and it is non-violent, then Triton CORE will respond. We will assess the risk, and then we will coordinate to decide if this is more like a transportation to a higher level of care, or we will kind of coordinate with you with resource on campus with a release of information. I'm gonna let Chris to speak with the second half of the presentation.
Thanks, Jojo, and hi, folks. Again, I'm going to be going over the recommended collateral information. This is in case you're calling either for yourself or for another student that you're concerned about. When you reach out to Triton CORE and connect with UCPD Dispatch, we ask that you provide the name of the student. If you have it, we also ask that you provide the ID and the date of birth of that student so that we can be able to locate that student within our electronic medical records system. We will also ask about the last known location. Was the student in the dorm room? Were they near a cafeteria or a lecture hall? This is a massive campus, and so if you can give us any information as to where it is that the student may be or where it is that you're located, that would be helpful. We will also ask about safety concerns because we do not respond to calls that have any elements of violence. We will ask you about a mental and medical health history. We will also inquire about any recent triggers, like what prompted this crisis today. And then we'll also ask if the student is aware that Triton CORE may be visiting them. That last one is not necessarily crucial. We just would like to give some anticipatory guidance so that we don't surprise anyone. Now, what to expect after calling. So let's say you've already called, know that the Triton CORE team is going to be working behind the scenes and evaluating the student's eligibility for our services. We can also contact the reporting party, which can be you or someone that may be reporting someone or a student of concern. To gather additional information. And then if that student has been linked previously to a CAPS provider, then we can also connect with the CAPS folks so that we can gather as much information as possible so that when we deploy and connect with the student, we're fully well informed and can do our best at trying to get that student connected to support quickly. We tell folks that it can take us anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes from the moment that we receive a call to the point that we get to connecting with the student on campus. And so we really want to highlight that if you call because you're concerned either for yourself or another individual, and you feel that you can't keep yourself safe or the other individual can't keep themselves safe, then that warrants more of an emergency call. That's more of a 911 call. We take about 30 to 40 minutes to get to where the student is at. And so really want to reiterate what Jojo mentioned earlier about it being more like urgent care on wheels, not emergency. And so during the call, we connect with the student. We can conduct a risk assessment. We can explore case management needs. We also engage in safety planning and can offer referrals to on-campus or off-campus resources. Shown here is an example of a resource card that we leave with the student and that we actually work on together to devise a safety plan. We identify names and phone numbers of folks that the student can feel safe with. We identify safe places either on or off campus. And then we can also identify safe actions that can be like, maybe storing sharps away and or asking for help and getting transported to a CSU if it warrants that level of response. And then lastly, being part of CAPS and part of the UCSD health system, and then also co-located within the UCPD station, we can coordinate with campus partners if the student provides consent. We are a consensual and confidential resource on campus. We will only engage with the student if the student agrees to participate in our call response. And then lastly, we can't share anything about what takes place in that call because it's all confidential. Oh, I clicked on the link. So sorry, give me 1 sec as I maneuver back. Here we go. And that was it. We end with a thank you. And here is a QR code for our website. Please feel free to check it out and bookmark it. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our core team. We are going to pass as well to our care team. Today is our day of all C's. So I realized in advance I didn't give an intro to everyone we would see today, but in order, we're going to first hear from core, then care, then case management, and finally CAPS. So as I mentioned, it's our day of C's. Thank you so much, core, and thanks for the work that you do. Jessica, thanks so much for sharing more about care.
Sorry, thank you. My Zoom just updated, so my things all look a little funny. Okay. Hello, folks. Excited to be on this call with y'all. My name is Jessica. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm here to just chat a little bit more with y'all about who Care at SARC is and all the services that we offer. And like someone mentioned earlier, congratulations to being here at UC San Diego. And I will share just kind of all the work that we do, who we support, how you can access our support services. And hopefully, my hope here is that you all may have had a similar department at your previous institution. So hopefully none of this is too new or too different. So Care at SARC is a free and confidential support service for folks who have been impacted by either sexual violence, relationship violence, or dating violence, or stalking. We're able to offer Support that is not going to be reported out. So what that means is that we're really going to work on an individual basis with folks. We're not going to share that information with any parents, legal guardians, friends. We're not adding it onto your student record. And then the other key piece that is helpful for folks to know is that because our team is confidential, that we are not responsible employees under our Title IX policy. And we are also not campus security authorities under the Clery Act. So that really limits the way that we might have to maybe report out. We'll talk a little bit more about confidentiality in a moment, but I just wanted to start with that. And then in terms of free, we're not, charging folks any additional co-payments or any fees for folks to access services. Services are completely covered by the tuition that you're offering and are accessible to anyone who might be a student here, a staff member, or even faculty. And what's really great about our services is that if you yourself have not been impacted, that is okay. If you might know someone who was impacted and you're currently supporting them as a friend, as a roommate, as a partner, our services do extend to you as well. So we always remind people that we're able to kind of help navigate how you can have conversations with folks around you around these subjects and how you can help create support around them. Our office operates on 3 main frameworks when we're working with folks. That is being survivor-centered and making sure that we are allowing the folks that we work with to really guide the support that they'd like. We are always clear about what we can and cannot do so that they know kind of what to expect or what options they might have. And we're very clear about, what options they have in terms of reporting through the university, the criminal legal system, or if they're looking for healing opportunities or other types of services, which I'll get into in a moment as well. Empowerment-based is really looking at what, support systems do they already have, what strengths do they have as individuals, and how can we work off of that? We want to make sure that we're working with people to really recognize that they are experts in their lives. And then the last piece on being trauma-informed is just recognizing that trauma impacts people in so many different ways. And there may be opportunities of sharing language to really kind of identify what might be coming up for folks and have an understanding of, being a little bit compassionate with maybe folks' responses or what they might do or say, and just being aware and kind of creating that empathy for themselves. The image that you have on the screen is a picture of our lobby. Due to the confidential nature of our work, our space is not particularly public. So unlike other resource centers on campus, like our ADI community resource centers, we don't have shared space where folks can come study, hang out, or spend time. But we always like to let folks know what they might walk into if they were to ever walk into our lobby. So I mentioned I would circle back about the confidentiality piece, and this is just so you all know kind of the value of confidentiality and how you can navigate it. And so CARE at SARC is one of a handful of departments here on campus that have this confidential privilege. You have on the right-hand side the list of other folks who also have confidential privileges, which are CAPS, which you'll hear about them a little bit later today, Student Legal Services, Office of the Ombuds, and then Student Health Services, which is the office that Triton CORE is under. I have an asterisk there because depending on people's certifications, their confidentiality limits may be different. And so that's what I'm going to explain now in terms of, I mentioned that we do offer confidential support services, and we are able to do that. However, there are some limitations to that confidentiality, and that is if folks express that they have been impacted by child abuse, elder abuse, if they are considering harming themselves or they're considering harming other people. Now, of course, this means we're going to have a conversation and a dialogue with folks and really assess, what that reporting process might look like. And like I said, because we are survivor-centered and empowerment-based, we're going to try to make sure that we're working with a person in terms of what to expect next if there is a report that happens and how we can work with them to create a safety plan with them. Oh, my apologies. Okay. So I also said I'll break down the services that we offer a little bit more so you can have a better understanding of what does it mean to support someone through, after an incident of harm. And so we have our survivor support services. These are the folks that are going to work really on a one-on-one basis with folks impacted by harm. They're able to provide 24/7 support by really navigating reports, calls that we get, and they're able to really kind of chat with folks about what options they might have. We do have the flexibility to offer support outside of our typical business hours on the weekends and during holidays. And how we do that is that we have an on-call calendar. And so folks are able to assess if it is a situation that is identified as an urgent situation, we can follow up with folks shortly after. If it's a situation in which folks may be curious about our services, not necessarily in danger in the moment or nothing particularly urgent, we can follow up the next business day. So we do try to be as responsive as possible. We are able to work with folks in terms of providing overviews of what options they have and what rights they have here in the state of California in terms of what process they might want to navigate. So again, that might be a university process through our Title IX office, or it might be navigating a process through a criminal legal system. Also, if folks are open and want to explore maybe a forensic exam, we kind of talk about what that option might look like. And if they do move forward with any proceeding, we're able to support them and offer accompaniment through any maybe meetings, court proceedings, investigations, things like that. And we recognize that it can be really intimidating to be going through a process like that. And so our advocates can provide preparation ahead of time for those and also support while that meeting might be happening or that proceeding might be happening. Our team is also able to offer case management support. So looking at, maybe outside of reporting options, folks might not be particularly drawn to that, and that is okay, but they might need support navigating, class flexibility. Maybe they have an on-campus job and they need a little time off to process what has happened. They might need support with other needs. And so we're able to work with all of our wonderful campus partners and asking for flexibility and accommodations and make sure that we are addressing the needs that folks have, even if it's outside of our kind of like particular area of expertise. So we have a lot of really great connections with folks across campus. And then lastly, they also offer holistic healing programs. So recognizing that, folks may be interested in, therapy and counseling. And for that, we work really closely with CAPS. And if folks are interested in exploring other healing modalities outside of talk therapy, we do host programs for folks to kind of process their healing through yoga, through music, through art, and just also provide a support space and just kind of a pure dialogue where folks can connect with one another. The next piece of the services that we offer are prevention education and training services. This is really looking at what is the information that we can provide folks as widely as possible so that harm doesn't happen, period. And so this might be engaging in conversations around how to build healthy friendships and relationships, how to normalize checking in and asking for consent, really teaching people how to intervene in situations that may be possibly harmful or something that might be a little bit off might be happening, how to support survivors, and then also assessing how to engage in safe online interactions. And so we do that through, working with the colleges through mandatory education. So some of y'all may have already completed a module on Canvas, and you might also see us at orientation in person for our in-person CARES categories game. We also work with departments across campus to elevate campaigns on an annual calendar, and those can be Sexual Assault Awareness Month during the month of April, Stalking Awareness Month in the month of January, or Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October. We also are able to receive any requests for programs, trainings, or any outreach. So anytime if you are joining a student recognized organization, or if you're going to be on a team here on campus and you're curious to learn more, you can always request us to work with you all. And what's really great about that is that we are always able to modify or customize any of our programs or our trainings to meet a particular need that your team might have or a particular community that you might be a part of. And then the last piece is offering consultation and trauma-informed training. So we do our best to work with our student staff on campus to ensure that they learn how they can respond in an empathetic way to disclosures, help navigate how they can have a conversation with folks around their reporting responsibilities, and just providing an opportunity for folks to really practice building those skills. And this will be just a quick slide through of our staff. I know sometimes it can be helpful to put faces to our names. So on the screen here, you have our leaders, our director and assistant director, Marianne and Cindy. Then you also have Jessica, who supports both teams, our advocates and our preventionists. Here we have our advocates. So if you might work on a one-on-one capacity, you might talk to Liz, Isaiah, or Lysandra. And then, like I mentioned, for our preventionists, we have our trainers, which are myself and then my colleague, Andy. And then I'll just end with our contact information for you all to have that accessible. I'll also drop it in the chat in a moment just so you have it with you. Like I said, our phone number is 24/7. You can always give us a call. You have 2 different emails you can reach out to if you have just general inquiries or want to kind of learn more about our education offerings. You can email care.info. If you want to set up an appointment, consultation, and formal dialogue with our advocate or support service team, you can email them at careadvocate. We are located at the Student Services Center, and if you are starting to become familiar with the campus, we're right next to the Price Center, so pretty centrally located. We're at the top of the building, Suite 500. Our lobby hours are Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8:30 to 4. What that means is that that's the time that we can accept walk-ins, but we are always able to work with people's schedules to accommodate appointments outside of those times. And you have our website and our Instagram. And with that, I'll go ahead and pause and turn it back to Tessa.
Thank you so much. We are just cruising through all of these. Christian, thanks so much for joining us from case management. I'm going to go ahead and pass and learn a little bit about case management. And then our final one after is going to be the wonderful Haley in our CAPS team as well.
Y'all, thank you for having us at your Triton Talk, and we would also like to share our congratulations from Student Affairs Case Management for becoming part of our wonderful and strong campus community here at UC San Diego. And with that, we'd like to share some of the resources that we have for you through case management services. And we like to say that case management is concerned with creating a culture of care here at UC San Diego, and we do that through a couple of different means. So this is a monster of a slide. There's lots of text on here, but it's because we do a lot of things for students. And one thing that I'd like to share is our main program, which is our case management support program, which provides individual, customized, and personalized support for our students going through issues that create barriers for our students to attain academic success in their education here. And we provide that service to undergrad, graduate, and professional students here at UC San Diego. This is slightly less related to you as students, but we do want to make sure that we can help other staff members on campus feel empowered to help our students that are in distress or having some complex needs. So we provide consultation resources and services to faculty and staff members. And we also have newly introduced some well-being programs to support our students outside of that case management arena, to support our students through connection spaces that I'll be sharing in just a couple slides. And then one thing I'd like to emphasize within this slide as well is that the case management department is empowered to do our work through our many partnerships on campus, including some in this room, but the ones that we'd like to point out here, just so that you know we're working with the leaders on your different college and different areas across campus. So we work frequently with the deans of student affairs in the undergrad colleges, the graduate colleges, as well as the School of Medicine and School of Pharmacy. So we have our team here so you can get to know our friendly faces. You might see here that there are case managers attached to specific colleges here. In our next upcoming year, we are going to be settling the college-based system so you can connect with any one of these lovely case managers here. I also had the absolute pleasure and privilege of adding a new face to our case manager list just today. So this is a brand new slide, but we have Triton CORE, who's joined our team today. And then we have a couple other positions here that you noticed, the Creating Culture of Care Manager, myself. I do the well-being programming for our department. And then we also have the Students with Dependence Coordinator who does the program that I will speak about in just a moment about supporting our students who have caregiving responsibilities. So what is case management actually? So these are the case management tenets that are created by the National Higher Education Case Management Association. And what we do as case managers is arrange for appropriate medical and mental health care for students, maintain contact and meet with our students to address their needs that they have, foster self-advocacy in our students so that they can manage their academic, personal, and fiscal responsibilities. And then finally, we are steadfast in advocating for our students both individually on campus, leveraging our different partnerships across campus to help our students, but then also systemically at our university system-wide case management meetings where we advocate and research best practices in case management. So this is the fun stuff and the important stuff that we do in case management services, the programs and partnerships that we have. So case management services, it is case management support offered to all levels of students across campus. And what that means is that it's individualized one-on-one meetings for students to make sure that we can get the needs that you have in order to succeed as a student addressed. And that can come from a variety of different areas within life, whether that be personal, fiscal, basic needs related, mental health related. If you need somebody to advocate on your behalf, connect with you to sort through and navigate those options that you have. If you're feeling a level of distress about the complex issues that keep you from success, there is somebody here on campus that is here to help navigate help you navigate, regardless of where those issues originated on campus or in your home life and yourself. And of course, we do offer those consultative resources, like I said, and that last point, in our upcoming year, we will be more available to our students directly, and so you'll be able to connect with the case manager regardless of referral. So the Students with Dependence program, we are very proud of this program. It's meant to support our students who are supporting others through caregiving services. And that's going to include not only student parents here on campus, but that's going to include all of our student caregivers, whether they're a caregiver to, let's say, a disabled family member or an elderly parent that needs more consistent caregiving responsibilities that might make it more difficult to be a student as well. And so that's why the Students with Dependence Coordinator exists, to provide that one-on-one case management services to get students that are supporting others additional support. And that could be through a variety of different services. It could be creating events and partnerships with our both on and off-campus partners, we do have partners and liaisons with the Child Care Center here at UC San Diego and other child care centers around this university. We also have some knowledge of different programs and subsidies that you can take advantage of as a student, parent, or caregiver that we can give you information about. We also take a very active role in advocating for student parents on campus and increasing the child friendliness of certain areas on campus so that we can fully engage our student parents and our families here. And then we also provide advocacy and communication to our students with dependence through e-newsletters, that's a tongue twister, and social media and tabling for our students with dependence. And Triton. So this is a very exciting program for our incoming students, both transfer and first-time freshmen. So we have Triton. So I would like to describe it as a chat line where students can access trained peers to help with navigational questions or emotional support if they need it. And these trained peers are going through or understand what you're going through and are peers on the same, going through the same journey as you and can offer the resources that they are aware of and have been trained on. And they're here to provide empathy and active listening, as well as guidance guidance about resources on campus, and are specifically geared towards non-crisis, non-emergency support for students. But the benefit of this program is you can connect in real time to a student that can answer your questions over a text chat line. So you don't have to call somebody, you don't have to make an appointment, you don't have to go into a specific place on campus to get some of your questions answered. And questions that we've received in the past can be like, hey, I don't know how to navigate this conflict with my roommate, and I'm going through some struggle with it. We've received that. It could be questions about the UC San Diego campus itself. It is quite large, and so it can be difficult to navigate. So if you want to hop on the chat line and just say, hey, I can't find the Office of Environmental Science. Where is it on campus? And they'll get back to you as soon as they can. You can also ask different questions about being a student. Hey, how do I get to the airport with my Pronto Pass? The Triton to Tritons would love to help answer those questions that you may have and are super excited for you to log on and get chatting with us. And Together All. Together All is another great option for connecting with other students to create a mental health support community. And this community is different from Triton to Triton because it's fully anonymous, and you can expect that it is open 24/7. So with Together All, there is there is a level of safety because it's monitored by licensed mental health professionals to make sure that you're getting the advice and support that you need. The way that I like to describe Reddit is describe Together All is, what if it was Reddit but like healthy for you and good for you? It functions like a social media space where you can communicate with others about your mental health and well-being. You can talk about some of the struggles that you're going through as a student, and you can utilize this service anytime and anywhere. So those are some of the services that case management can provide for you as students. If you are interested in accessing any of those services or receiving any more information about what we offer, it's going to be on our webpage here at Student Affairs Case Management. And so with that, I'm going to return it back to Tessa.
Thank you so much, Christian. And we are back to our last and certainly not least provider and a great partner in our office. So you may see Haley's face regularly at some of our mental health lunches, or she's just a big transfer advocate, and she'll talk more about that. So you'll see her around. I'll pass off to Haley to round out our presentation for today.
Thank you so much, Tessa, for that introduction, and thanks to all the folks that have presented. We all really work together as a university in different partnerships, and we couldn't do it without, I think, either one of each other. Like, everybody kind of works together in that way. So my name is Haley, pronouns are she, her, and I will be talking to you today about counseling and psychological services, hoping to answer any questions that you might have, or even dispel some of the things you might have heard in the past about our services. I'm going to share my screen. Before I move on, I have to say that the case management logo, or a little mascot of the turtle with the bucket hat, is, like, to me, the cutest thing ever. It's so fun. All right, let me share my screen. Alrighty, and then let me see if I can just move my thing out of the way so I don't have to worry about anything, not being able to see anything. Alrighty, so as I said, I am from Counseling and Psychological Services, commonly referred to as CAPS on campus. Okay, perfect. So CAPS provides quite a few different clinical services, right? People, when they think of counseling and psychological services, they might just think of one-on-one therapy, but we actually offer a variety of things. So yes, we do offer one-on-one therapy, that's individual counseling. We also offer specific group counseling for specific needs. So for example, social anxiety is a really common and also incredibly popular group that we offer. We also offer psychiatry services, which is really important because sometimes we find that students, to manage their mental health, it's best to have talk therapy and medication in conjunction for the best results. And students don't have to go out and try to find a psychiatrist on top of that. If they're already meeting with one of our therapists at CAPS, we can also link them to an in-house psychiatrist so that they can have care coordination right there and have that all worked out. Much like other services that were mentioned today, CAPS is free and confidential. Super important that when you access, that you know that you access CAPS services, that you're not going to have to worry about, does CAPS accept my insurance? I have a PPO or HMO or all of these things. To access our services, they're completely free. It's already kind of baked into the student fees that you pay, student health fees. And so that's really important to know. We're also confidential. So we aren't talking to your professors, even though we're located on the campus, we are part of the UCSD health system. So I like to use the example of, like, same way that your heart, you know, if you go to the doctor to get your heart checked up, like that is a private part of your medical record. These mental health notes are also part of your health record. So the same sort of confidentiality and guided by the same HIPAA regulations. That's our number right there. And then we have our website, which will have all of the information I'm sharing and more. So you can always let your own time and leisure peruse our website. So you might say, well, I don't know if my reason is worth it enough to come to CAPS. I hear that very often. I have many students will say, oh, I feel like, you know, mine's issue's not that serious. And my response to that is if it would be helpful to talk to someone and process what you're going through, then it's appropriate for CAPS. We don't have to sort of judge how much you're suffering. If you're having a challenge, we want to hear and we want to talk to you about. So just to show you a variety of the things that people come to talk to us about, you can see some of these you might fit into it yourself. So stress, depression, even adjustment, extremely common, especially for incoming students and especially for transfer students with adjustment. And then you'll see some of the other areas such as academic issues, alcohol or drug use, also identity exploration, also something we very much see with college students. And then we have sports psychologists within our department for folks who need support with sport and performance psychology. So a variety of reasons, as you can see, not any like this, but not that. In addition to more routine services, as I was just talking about, we also offer urgent care support. We have a crisis phone line, which thankfully you don't have to remember another number. It's the same number as ours. I love this about our department is that you're not having to think of this number for this and this number for that. It's just one line. And then after hours, you get prompted if you need to do something else. But same number, if you are experiencing a mental health crisis that needs support, you can call this number. Now, during our business hours, which is from 8 to 4:30, you could come in person. You could be seen by video, it's called My Chart Video. It'll be through your My Chart, not through Zoom. Very clear to say that. It'll be through your health chart. You can do it over the phone. So perhaps you are somewhere far, not by a computer, but you're really in crisis. There's many ways to access us during business hours. Again, free, confidential. You do have to be in California to receive this support. But if you aren't in California and you're looking for some direction of like, who can I call or whatnot, you can always call us for a consultation as well. And then after hours, this phone number and line still works for crisis support. So you would call and you would get connected to our after hours line support and would be able to speak to a licensed clinician on the phone to talk about your mental health crisis and get support in the moment. You can also call about a friend that you're concerned about as well. So perhaps you're thinking, I don't really know if I want to do individual therapy. I, don't know if I want to kind of sit down and commit to appointments on a regular basis. And I'm not in need of crisis support, but how can CAPS improve my mental well-being? So we have different things called RISE workshops, and those are workshops that students can drop into to improve their well-being. So Sunrise session is often related to yoga. It's incredibly popular. And it's done at different locations. So in places in the past that they've done this, the yoga has been mostly partnered with REC, but also has been done with, it's been done at the aquarium here on campus, the Birch Aquarium. They've also done like an Under the Stars and some other really cool locations. So Sunrise session is typically yoga with mindfulness, but they've also had some really cool like pop-up events. Performance Lab is great for folks who need support with performance, right? So maybe they're having issues with concentration. Maybe they're having issues with procrastination, right? All of those things you can go and drop into one of those workshops and get support. Mindfulness Studio, perhaps you've heard someone recommend practice mindfulness. You seem really stressed or you're really anxious. Have you practiced mindfulness? And you might feel like, I've heard of that. I don't really know what that is. Is it just deep breathing? I'm doing that already. So, you can also drop into our mindfulness studio if you really want to perfect that skill. And I always recommend that because mindfulness is something you can do anywhere in any place. And it really equips you with being able to manage your emotions and self-regulate. Joyful movement is for folks who want to become, kind of embrace a different relationship with their body and appreciate its abilities physically. So you can go join our joyful movement, stress better. We know that college students are not short of stress, especially during midterms and finals. And we aren't here to take away all that stress, but we want to show you how to manage that better and how to sort of use it to your advantage. Sleep reset. Sleep is also a really common issue we see with students, right? You're trying to balance everything. I always go back to when I was in college. I remember there was a little triangle going around and the triangle had said, you can only have two things at once, right? And so it was like social life, sleep, and good grades. And so if you have social life and good grades, you're not getting any sleep. And, you can do the other eliminations of those things. So it's really challenging, but sleep is one of the main things that our students tend to sort of skip out on or say they choose to delay, and that catches up to you. So if you need support, resetting your schedule, maybe you just pulled up too many all-nighters, you can come to Sleep Reset. And then Triton Rise and Outback. So that's again with Triton's partnership with Outback Rec on our campus. And they do all kinds of things like the obstacle course. They go on camping trips every quarter. There are other opportunities to kind of combine mental health with being outdoors, super popular. And then we also have an LGBTQIA+ specific one as well. And then we have CAPS Community Forum. So perhaps as I'm telling you all these things, none of them is screaming to you because maybe you're like, I just want to build community. I don't need to really work on a specific skill, but I want to build community. So CAPS is here for that too. We have these things called community forums. You'll see a list here. This is a pretty exhaustive list. These aren't always all offered at the same quarter all throughout the year, but these are some of the common ones that we do offer routinely, like ADHD support is pretty common. And so it's Black Connections. And so these are for, you'll see them, they're very identity based. So if you are an athlete struggling with an injury, and that's really impacting your morale and your self-esteem and self-worth, then you can go to a group with other athletes who are also in that same position and build community, right? Grief and loss is also very common and a popular group on our campus. And so obviously when you're on campus, it can feel isolating if you're dealing with the grief, the loss of a loved one or someone who's not even maybe in your home or has been in your home. And then you can, meet with other folks who have similar experiences. And as you can see, there's a wide variety. You can always go back to our website and just check what the current offerings are. Again, completely free. And these tend to be drop-in, so also non-committal, which is helpful when you have a varying schedule. So you might say, well, what is the benefit to coming to CAPS other than just improving my well-being? Like I'm a student, I need to see what's the payout. And so there's also what we partnered with the co-curricular program on campus. And so actually by improving your mental health and well-being, you can also have this added to your co-curricular credit. So there's lots of different things on campus. I totally encourage you to check out their website. But basically this is like a separate transcript that's about well-being and student leadership and things of those nature. And so going to these different activities or different workshops, just 12 activities per year. So if you think about how many weeks are in the whole academic year, it's pretty doable to go to our activities. And while doing it, you're also improving your well-being. You can do this and get a separate co-curricular transcript that you can, perhaps use when it comes to applying to different institutions or, graduate school, showing that you really invested in your mental health and well-being as well. Right. And we're always looking for competitive things to make our resume and our transcripts competitive. Okay, and then I want to also bring your attention to something else in case anything I mentioned to you still doesn't speak to you. I've got another thing that I want to tell you about, which is called Let's Talk. So Let's Talk is great for folks who are therapy, mental health curious. And so what this is you can speak to a licensed clinician through CAPS. It's kind of, I like to think of it as like virtual tabling. You know how you would come up to agency fair and there would be, hey, what does your department do? Or, hey, do you think I'm a good fit? Well, you don't have to go to the agency fair. You can actually just log in and schedule an appointment with our Let's Talk providers. We tend to offer that every day of the week. Oftentimes during lunchtime, but there are some that are not lunchtime. And you can ask them your questions. Hey, I'm dealing with this issue. Do you think this would be helpful at therapy? Or, hey, I've really been struggling with this friendship issue or concentration issue. What do you think would be helpful? And a licensed clinician can talk to you at CAPS and say, you know what? Have you tried the Pomodoro method to help with concentration? It's not professional therapy, so this is not a place, as you can see, it's only around 25 to 30 minutes. So it's not a place to process anything deep or come with a breakup or anything like that to process in that moment. But if you are struggling and you're like, I just really want to figure out how to get connected to services, that's when a CAPS clinician can help you at that brief phone call and kind of get you connected, kind of get you set to the next step. So it's really great in that way. It's offered first come, first serve. We tend to have availability for folks, completely free and virtual as well. So you don't have to be on campus, which is really nice. I'm actually one of the Let's Talks providers and tend to offer my session usually on Tuesday, 12 o'clock, but perhaps I might do it Friday for this next upcoming quarter. So again, informal way to consult with a therapist. And then if you're like, I don't really want to contact anybody related to cancer, any kind of, human contact related to helping my mental health, then Headspace might be for you. Or in addition to all the things that you're interested in there, Headspace is also a great addition to that. So Headspace, I don't know how many folks have heard of it. I oftentimes, and if I'm in an in-person room, I will oftentimes ask people, and I like, okay, Headspace, it's like one of the most popular mindfulness apps. And I don't know currently what celebrities are on there, but there's been some celebrities that have like done certain recordings of like meditations or stories or things like that. So that's really cool. There's everything on there for helping with sleep and then exercise. So it's not just what we might think of for mindfulness. This is a very popular app that's used beyond campuses, but it's really cool is because UCSD actually pays for students to have this app completely free, premium membership, not having to worry about, you know, how you go into the app store and you think something's free and then you get in there and then it has in-app purchases and you practically can't use it. You know, that's not the case with Headspace. Headspace is a mindfulness app, and you can have access to all of the things. As you can see, 1,000+ hours, right? You probably won't get through it all, but I also really encourage students to have this on their phone. Of course, if you have the storage, you know, with the phone, but I encourage you to have it because you know, you might feel like you need some mindfulness, you need something to help with sleep, and it's 11 o'clock at night, or it's 1 a.m. in the morning when you're finally getting to sleep, and you can't really call someone to help you with your anxiety. You can't call someone because it's like after hours. Well, Headspace puts, again, the power back in your hands to help you manage your mental health and to do some exercises to help self-regulate. So I totally recommend just having it on your phone. So if you do need it at any time, if you're going in before a test, especially before a test, you might be feeling a lot of anxiety or stress, hop on one of those 5 minutes mindfulness things, practice some deep breathing, and you will see how that really kind of helps you go into the test much more calm. So just to give you a summary of, again, how do you get started? I've mentioned so many things. Again, I always recommend going to our website for any summary of everything that I've shared, but also when in doubt, call our phone line. You can also schedule through your student chart if you would like to schedule an appointment or, you know, be evaluated for CAP services. And then as you can see, there's some different things that we offer. Off-campus referrals are also something that we offer. So perhaps your mental health concern would be better served on a longer term model, or with more frequent sessions. Then we will help you get connected off campus, especially for our students who are coming in from different parts. Maybe they're not coming in from San Diego, they're not transferring from the local community colleges, and they aren't sure kind of how to navigate services around here. Or like many college students, maybe it's the first time actually kind of making these health appointments. We can help you connect to a therapist or psychiatrist off campus if that's our recommendation for the best support. Okay, so our website. And then I asked Simon to put into the chat a link, if you would. I'll evaluate my presentation. It's helpful to go back to our outreach director. And as Tessa said, you will definitely be seeing me around as a transfer student. I have a transfer student. You'll see me as a transfer liaison. I do a lot of programming. I really enjoy the transfer hub. And so you will be seeing me do workshops and lunches and have lots of opportunity to talk to me informally if that's something you're interested in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your wonderful presentations. That was so much great information, and I learned more throughout this too, so that's always the fun of getting to be here. I did see a couple questions trickle in, and one of them is, how soon can students begin to access these services? So if they're all incoming students, do they need to begin classes, or once they have a PID, what is the threshold for your offices?
I'll go first. Okay, so for CAPS, it can be different. So normally it's when if you're an incoming student, it's usually when the quarter starts. Now, there are certain programs where students are coming in sooner, like through summer programs, summer bridge, things of that nature. So if you're participating in a summer program, an early start program, you can call our office and see if that is one of the things that gives you eligibility to sort of start services sooner because you're already connected to campus.
And then in terms of events, times, do all of y'all post on Talkify? Is that where folks could be able to see your events, or would they be more specifically on your social media and pages individually?
If I may go for Triton CORE, it's the latter. It would be on our website, and we don't necessarily have any events. We do table at some of like the library walk tabling events, and we don't have a social media for confidentiality reasons. So our website is the best place to get information.
Okay. And then social media as well. I'm seeing.
I would say social media, and we do post on Talkify as well, like our groups and things of that nature, but we're also under student health and well-being. So it's really important with CAPS. You might think of, oh, you know, I can't find CAPS. We're actually under the student health and well-being cluster with student health services and health promotions.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That was so much wonderful information. I don't see any more Q&As coming in, but this recording will be up if there was something that you wanted to go back through and take a peek at. But so excited to see all of you if you're joining us either tomorrow or the next day for our Connect sessions. So have a great evening, everybody. Thank you.